So earlier this week, I found myself in a unique, I suppose, situation that I'd like to share with you guys because I want to talk about it, and I'm going to use Elden Ring as a visual representation of what actually happened earlier this week. For those of you who want to understand the current environment situation, it is technically April 2022. It happened this past Tuesday, so it's now technically Friday the 15th, so that would mean it happened on April, 12th? That sounds about right. Anyways, spring sprung very late for this year in New York. It's been just horrific, nonstop snow, ice, just nonstop, just storms constantly below freezing. It even snowed earlier in like last week. It was like hopefully the last snow of the season. And then finally this week, all of a sudden, bam, 60s and 70s. And I was like, "Oh, well, I'm going to go out and enjoy my life." It was a terrible mistake already. As soon as I wake up anytime before noon, and that day I happen to wake up at 9 in the morning, I should just never leave bed at this point. I should know the signs and understand that nothing good happens during normie hours. So anyways, I decided, hey, I'm going to go out, I'm going to go do stuff, I'm going to enjoy the day. I'll probably catch a baseball game later in the day because now the season started, all that kind of stuff. So I had gone out, done my initial rounds, got me my drinks, foods, all that kind of stuff. Then I was riding through the mountains, enjoying the country, just being like, hey, what a beautiful day for a ride, even though gas is indeed close to $5 a gallon right now, but that is neither here nor there. So, I'm driving through the country. I'm from upstate New York, so we got the mountains, all that good stuff, and of course, the wilderness has animals roaming around, living inside of it. You would expect as much. I actually, on my way to the trip, a bald eagle flew over me. It was cool. It was really great. And then once I decided to head back home for the day so that I could get ready to do other things, because it was only like 3, no, it was 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so it was still early. It was gorgeous out. I was just jamming in my car, all that kind of stuff. So I'm in this small town. I'm about to turn onto the highway, but it's a country highway, so it's single lane, all that kind of stuff. And so it's one way, each way, one lane, country road. And I've had no one on the road on my ass at all. It's been a glorious day. And then as soon as I get to the stop sign and I'm about to turn, make my turn, I see suddenly a giant, orange SUV approaching. I'm like, oh God, I know what's going to happen here. They're going to get right on my ass. And lo and behold, the middle-aged, white, balding, fat boomer behind the wheel did just that. So, while in the country road, we're, driving up and down the hills of the mountains, the peaks, the valleys, all that kind of stuff. It's gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. It's great to enjoy when there's not some dipshit riding your fucking bumper. So anyways, going about 65 miles per hour, still not enough for this guy. And every time we get to a passing lane where the solid double line turns into the dotted, you can go around someone line, there's always oncoming traffic. So he never gets the chance to pass me. I'm controlling the speed, all that kind of stuff. But he's still there. He's barely 2 feet away from me. And it's just all right. I don't know what else to do for you, my man. But so you just ignore those type of people. But those type of people just really don't care about anyone else but themselves. And so, like I mentioned before, plenty of wildlife, wilderness throughout the state. And while we're reaching the peak of one of the hills, and I start to descend, I see in the valley, the dip point that's coming up, there's something in the road. I could have sworn it was a porcupine, but I also knew it was indeed turtle country. New York has a whole bunch of turtles. It's actually the snapping turtle is the state reptile of New York. I actually found that out. So anyways, for a reenactment of the scenario. So let's say this is the lane that we're going down, and then oncoming traffic would be going this way. Alright? Let's say I'm right here, which is probably, like, say if I was on top of that mountain, that cliff right there, over there, and then this was the valley, but, you know, minus a fantasy horse and more cars involved. I get to the point where I see the turtle. It's right in the middle of the double lines in the road, just as I made this diagram around said Elden Ring dog. So I see it, and I start to slow down, but the guy behind me is still accelerating. So because he's not slowing down for me, I start slowing down. So I'm galloping, I'm slowing down, and then I start going towards the shoulder over here to try to get him to slow down, or at least I'm not going to hit the damn turtle. So I'm right here. I swerve, I stop here, and then all of a sudden, that motherfucker just accelerates past me and keeps going. And I'm like, you fuck. So he couldn't even be bothered to slow down for the car in front of him in a single lane country road on a double line in the middle of the road. There's a no pass, and he just kept going. He didn't care. So anyways, I get out of my car, I turn, and I see the turtle. And I'm like, oh man! He must have missed it, because the turtle was technically still on this side of the line. It was more towards the direction I was going, not the opposite direction. So I go over to the turtle, okay, and I inspect it, and it's not moving, granted. But I'm like, oh, it looks perfectly fine. And so I bend down, and it's a big turtle. Like, it's a 15-pound common snapping turtle. Those things are prehistoric. Their tails are like, they're like kaiju. They're little tiny like kaiju. I love snapping turtles. They're great. So I go over to the turtle, and I pick it up, and it breaks in half. And I'm like, you fucker. This guy's car cleaved it right in half. And it was horrific. It was devastating. It was the first time I've ever actually seen an animal get hit by a driver. You always see roadkill, but this was the first time a piece of shit actually killed an animal right in front of me with zero regards or remorse. He didn't, because when I pulled over to the side of the shoulder, okay, you'd think like maybe I was having an emergency or anything like. He didn't care. He just kept going. So that guy never once stopped. No, didn't. Other people actually did stop while I was there trying to calm down, because you go through the shock and everything else. And I'll get into more reasons about that, like my specific reaction, why it was so visceral and everything, when, you know, it really is a turtle getting hit by a car, and you're like, oh, well, shit, like, there's so many wars going on right now. World War III is about to break out. Everything's terrible, but, you know, we'll get to that in a second. I'm just trying to lay down the picture, show the facts, recreate the story, and then we'll dissect it from there. No pun intended. So anyways, I pick up the turtle, and the road is right off of an embankment. This is actually pretty accurate. It's right off an embankment of the creek. So it is a turtle. It's not a tortoise. They live in mud in the water. And so this poor turtle was crawling out of the creek, trying to go into the sunny meadow. I mean, that's not too sunny over there. Is this still going, or Did it stop? Hold on. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Alright, that's just on my end. Again, I have to deal with internet and game capture, and I have chat, slowed down and put to emotes only, so you guys can't alert me to anything right now. That's fine. But I'm hoping this is going to be recorded in one piece. So again, the turtle's just trying to cross from the creek to go into the Sunny Meadow farmlands that are right there. It did not. So I picked up the turtle and I carried it over to the bank and I placed it down in the grass, far away from the road, but not into the water. There was a bunch of blood. I was covered in dirt and blood from that turtle. Oh God, it was all over my hands. So I put it down in the embankment just to be like, well, I'm not gonna have another animal get hit by another fucker who just doesn't care. So whatever animals scavenge it, it will, it won't be wasted. I can say that right now. So I pick up the turtle and take it over there. Then I try to calm down. All that good stuff. But it was pretty horrible. It was pretty... Don't mind me. So, again, just a reiteration of what happens. So for me, I see a turtle moving. What turns out to be a turtle. I thought it was a porcupine. But then I was like, hey, I'm going to be out in turtle country. I wonder if I'll see a turtle like I tend to do most of the time when out in the country, because the mountains are just filled with freaking turtles. But people don't care. So I'm driving, I stop, the turtle's walking, and then all of a sudden get out of my car, the turtle's not walking. Now, for those of you who have never experienced anything dying, there's different ways death can occur. It can either be because of old age, illness, slowing down, injuries, any of that stuff. Or it can be instant, tragic. Just 1 minute, 1 second you're alive, the next second you're dead. When it comes to older or sick deaths, it's usually the death rattles. You have them labored breathing, you have them expending everything out of their body, regardless of what it is. The body's shutting down, and it is in the stages of at its end. Compared to when something is not a dying, sick animal that very much wants to be alive and has to fight for it, it is very, very surreal and disjointed to suddenly see something moving and then not moving, because that is dead on impact. That's instant death. So what this guy basically did is he saw the turtle, so I'm going to reenact what the guy behind me did. So he's right behind me, right on my ass, follow me, follow me, follow me. I start stopping right about here. He decides to swerve over here, and bam! Turtle's dead. And just like that, it died on impact, which I'm actually kind of grateful for that it didn't stay alive to suffer, because the shell from that way, this way, it got hit completely in half, horizontally. And the shell was just cracked, and the insides would have to be completely obliterated right there. There's no lungs left, there's no stomach, so even if the brain, because it didn't hit the head of the turtle, all major organs on the inside of the turtle are demolished. It's dead. It died instantly. Didn't feel anything, unlike me, who has to recreate stories about turtles online. So that guy just, again, bump, 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 sees me stopping, just goes on, and then sprints. He did not care. And the thing is, there was no traffic behind us or coming at us. So if he had actually stayed in the oncoming lane and cleared me completely, he would have missed the turtle completely, because it was like right here in the middle where this bloodstain is. And he hit it straight on, right in the middle of it. And he did not stop. And I was just fucking broken from that. I was just so pissed. Like, how do you just hit a 15-pound turtle? How do you fucking do that? Because the thing is, if I had been swerving because a fucking 200 to 300-pound deer jumps out of the goddamn bushes, I swerve it, this idiot would have been doing that and he'd have a fucking deer in his windshield. Because he just couldn't stop long enough to not be, I guess, on time or wherever the fuck he's going. It's just, oh my god, those types of people just drive me fucking crazy. So, if this guy had hit a deer, he would have been obliterated. It would have been the complete opposite thing. I would have been fine. He would have been just devastated. But I keep, thinking to myself, reminding myself that if he did pass me earlier in the drive, like in the mountains, higher up, what would have happened is he would have zoomed out of my vision at like 80 to 90 miles per hour. And you know what I would have come across regardless? A dead turtle in the road. This turtle didn't have a chance with that guy on the road. I tried to do everything I could have done to stop for the turtle and help it cross the damn street, but no, that guy, he was there. And he wasn't gonna stop for that fucking turtle, because I had to keep reminding myself, people in Florida hit 18-foot fucking gators because, oh, I got my pickup truck. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. So the rest of that day, was just ruined for me. Came back home. The past couple days have been, pretty rough, because I know I've explained this before, with other stories, like, say, 2 years ago, I had the kittens, where we found 4 abandoned kittens. My parents found 4 abandoned kittens out in the wild, where they were, abandoned by some asshole for no reason. And I never raised kittens before, tried to do what I could, but without their mother cat, they just could not survive except for Puddin'. She's the only one who lived, so only 1 out of the cats out of 4 lived, and I still, to this day, cannot forgive myself, even though there was nothing I could do. I fucking cursed the name of the bastards who would do that to those poor cats, but my brain sees it as, they were under your care, therefore you cannot forgive yourself, even though everything I did for them was the exact same I did for Puddin', and she lived, and it's just a matter of fact that they couldn't digest the formula. They needed their mother's milk. But I can't get over it. That's one of the few things that is just constantly haunting me nonstop. And there's just something very specific about animal-based violence that really does not leave me at all, compared to, I'm not gonna lie, I have, like, 0 reactions towards human-based violence anymore. Like, I don't know what else to say. I've just become so goddamn numb to it, but there's just something about animals where it's like, animals and children, to be honest, those who can't protect themselves or understand the situation, who are completely at the very core bystanders of the events around them. Like, if an animal attacks an animal in the wild for food, that's survival. But to play fucking roadkill bingo with your goddamn fucking make up for your tiny ass dick midlife crisis SUV, go fuck yourself. Like, honestly. And it's just, it was just completely unnecessary. It was completely avoidable. But everything that person chose to do led to this event. And then I get to live knowing that I saw a turtle completely eviscerated because some douchebag decided, hey, let's go for it, okay? And this has actually been a problem for me lately because of other things I've mentioned in the Discord that I'm not going to bring up here, but it was, work related, that's all I'll say. is that for the past couple of months, I've been having horrendous PTSD from past incidents in my life, and it's all violence based. And the thing is, I do have a therapist, I have a psychiatrist, but none of them specialize in PTSD treatment, and I've been researching into an actual specialist to go see, because it's getting really fucking bad. But it's not that easy of a find for around here, I'm finding out. So I still have to do research into that. Because, for those of you who have never gone into therapy, or counseling, or anything like that, what therapy is to help you build up a solid foundation so that you can then address the problems that are keeping you held back by understanding, you know, the motions of, you have to accept things for what they are, here's what it is, move on, these are the things you can do to prevent the anxiety or depression or anything like that. And then once you start getting a foundation, you can build at your own pace, your own methods, your own, preferences. That's what therapy does. Therapy gets you, like, if you had a broken arm, you go to a medical doctor, a physical medical doctor, they put your arm in a cast, and then you slowly but surely recover, and then you go through physical therapy to get back into it, and then you go on with your life, and you make yourself a better person. It's the same thing in therapy, except in a psychological area, hence therapy. The problem is, say you have, at least for me, on my own experiences, I can say, if I have a relapse episode where it's just like a manic episode because of my bipolar schizophrenia, or it's because I fall into a depressive funk, I can fall off the pedestal I've created, the foundation, but I can stop myself. I can brace myself. I can still have onto the remnants of what I have and keep going on. What PTS flashbacks do, it doesn't give a flying fuck about any foundation you might have. Because what happens is, you're not falling off the pedestal. You're suddenly transported in the middle of goddamn nowhere to an event you never want to see again for the rest of your life, and you're stuck in there. And while you're stuck in that moment of time, you are physically blacked out to the surroundings around you, and you go into fucking autopilot, which goes into fight or flight. And for me, that is an incredibly dangerous and incredibly terrifying place to be. You do not want to lose control over yourself at any time, because you don't want to hurt someone, But, like, it's just been, that's why, people who actually have experienced live combat or have experienced war zones or anything like that, they really do have reflexes that can't be easily undone through just therapy alone, because it's ingrained in them. And the amount of things that I've gone through to distrust others and not let them into my life or anything like that, or just keep to myself and just focus on what I enjoy, that's gonna be with me for the rest of my fucking life. There's nothing I can really do about that, because it's so ingrained into my core values at this point. I learned it at a very young age. So, and I've always had animals to rely on. Pets, dogs, cats, anything else. My gecko even. And I just, or just animals in general, like looking up, reading. I've just always enjoyed them. Of just watching them be who they are, because they have total and absolute freedom. It's just, something that us humans don't get to enjoy too often. And just to have one of them completely decimated for no reason right in front of your eyes is not fun to watch. And I know people who hunt for food and all that kind of stuff, I don't have a problem with, or people who are willing to acknowledge, like, the food they ate did come from an animal, so just respect it because it died so that you could live. But there's so many people who are so goddamn unaware of their surroundings, let alone animals. They don't even care about the people around them. Like, even though I don't care, let's say, about someone, like, all the shootings you hear about in general, like, I don't have time for it. But you don't wish people harm. You don't wish for those things to happen. You don't actively be like, haha, wouldn't it be funny, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, because they're still horrific. It's just that it's just been oversaturated, and I don't have the mental, like, I'm mentally fatigued by it at this point. When I was in fifth grade, that was when Columbine happened. It's been going on for 2/3 of my life, this bullshit. So, it's more of fatigue other than lack of humanity. Because I just put all my focus towards animals at this point. I guess the thing is, like, I want to go, like, record this, mostly for my own things, just like how I was able to make the video essays for what happened to the kittens. I didn't make them public on YouTube or anything like that, but they're there to remind me of, like, the things, because another little technique that happens when you have traumatic events happen in your life is, for me, with the kittens specifically, I knew I was going to lock out every single fucking horrific detail from my consciousness and put it into the subconscious. And so I made the initial videos of the reactions as a reminder of what actually did happen, so that my mind couldn't twist things around with what if this happened, what if that happened. That's kind of what I'm doing here now with the turtle, is I want to just know, because I didn't take any photos of it, I didn't take any videos, I just picked up the turtle out of the street, and I put it back into the grass where it should have been to begin with. So, for me, this is just a reminder of, while the wound is still fresh, what exactly happened, to recount it as fresh as possible. Because here's a good example. Well, no, I'm not getting into politics right now for the turtle fit. Anyways, I've been legitimately feeling horrible, not just because of the turtle, even though the turtle itself is important. I don't want to see some random animal minding its own business getting fucking killed by a driver. Actually, like a week ago, I was driving on the other sides of the mountains on the way back from an event, and this pickup truck drives right over a groundhog. And you know what this fucking groundhog did? It did the duck and cover. It curled up into a ball and was looking around like in shock, and then it just ran up. I've never seen that happen before in my life. I'm like, go, buddy, go! And then the turtle didn't get so lucky as much as the groundhog. But I mean, at least I was there to get out of the road. So I was able to do that. But I tried, buddy. I did. But there's just still that one thing in the back of your mind of, like, what if, just what if, and it's just like, no, it's not what if. You're driving, you did everything you could, and you couldn't control the son of a bitch who decided to kill a turtle with their fucking car. And these are the same people, because earlier in the day were elderly people, doing their power walks along a country road. And it's like, this son of a bitch is going to hit something that people actually consider vastly important, more important than a turtle. And it's like, this guy's just going to be his own undoing. So this was my little recantment, but before we truly end here, I think it's only fitting that we go over here for a little bit. Because it seems to be a tradition now. It's been 2 years since the kitten incident. I can't believe Puddin's turning 2 this June. She's such a force of fucking nature. But just like with the kitten incident, I feel like after witnessing this, that in order to appease my own inner sense of retribution. We're going here over to the Turtle Pope, the King of Dogs, here in Elden Ring. Alright? I think what we're gonna do, we're gonna do another Blood Curse live here on Twitch TV. Didn't think I'd have to turn this into a regular thing, but apparently we do, because the Turtle Pope might forgive, but I will not. So, let us commence with what I predict will happen. So, to the person who decided to ride my ass for about 3 miles at 65 miles per hour and still wasn't happy enough with that speed in a very not 65 mile per hour zone, mind you, and who just had to get to wherever they were going just slightly faster than they needed to, and therefore not only ignored the fact that a driver was pulling onto the shoulder, and then also passed them in a double line middle section of do not cross, and thereby just completely ignoring the fact that they were stopping for a reason. I hope the turtle shell completely shredded your tires. I hope it threw off your alignment. I hope that turtle did as much damage to your fucking car as humanly possible. I really do hope the turtle is embedded in the rubber just for you. And also, for someone as careless as yourself, who does not think about what their actions might have down the line, all I can say is, your carelessness will catch up to you someday. Someday, you will fuck up so badly that your life will never be the same. And that's not really, a predicament or some form of, forward thinking or forward seeing or anything like that. That's just the type of person that you are. Any type of person like that just does not actually care about what will happen to those around them. And someday, you're really gonna fuck up. And for that day, it might be sooner than you think. One can only hope. But also, I hope you never hurt anyone else again with your reckless behavior. You fucking worthless piece of shit. And for that, I think I'm gonna call it a night and move on. But that's the thing. I'm the one who has to remember this, and I'm sorry for those of you who had to also listen to the story. But that's what I am. I'm a storyteller. I tell things out of my life. And unfortunately, this is now another chapter in that life. Managed 32 years without seeing a turtle get hit by a car. I can't wait to see what the future holds for me. But don't get on people's asses when they're already going fast enough. Don't be an asshole. I think that's the lesson of today. Don't be a motherfucking piece of shit. So I'm going to cut this part of the stream now. Make it, complete. And then we shall return back into conversations real quick. So again, don't feel too bad for me, because I'm doing much better than the turtle. I'm alive, which honestly is not that high of a threshold to overcome compared to a dead turtle, but at least I do have that. So again, I gotta just keep going. But I'm ending this here now because I'm running out of things to say. Goodbye, Mr. Turtle, or Mrs. Turtle, turtle in general. May you be in peace.